Hi Stampers, this is Dawn and today we're going to do an overview of the brand new trimmer. And I got my older trimmer right next to me so we can do like a side-by-side comparison. Now one thing you're going to notice is that it kind of looks like the same trimmer, but it's not. There's a lot of features on this trimmer that the other trimmer did not have. First of all, let's just talk about the blades. The blades are amazing, and let me explain here. So now this was our older trimmer that's retired just currently, and the reason this paper trimmer retired was because of the blades. And I have an extra blade for both the trimmer, the older trimmer and the new trimmer. So I want to show you the comparison here. So now this is the brand new blade, and I took a picture of it, so hopefully I can get this in the video frame to show you an up close photo of the blades, the comparison of them compared to the older version. But this is the new blade. Let me see if I can hold it like this against my wrist here, or my hand. Can you see this blade right here? So it's much more substantial compared to the trimmer blade that we had in the last trimmer. So you can see here, I mean, you can barely see this blade. I'm just trying to really hold it in a view where you can see there's hardly even a blade there. So now this is the old style blade and then the new style. And once again, I'll try to post the picture, and if not, stay tuned to the last part of this video. I'll post the pictures there as well. So the new blades, and then also you can tell the difference between the scoring tool too as well. So this is the new scoring blade, and the refills are not available on the scoring blade, and I think it's because it's more substantial and you will not need a new replacement for the scoring blade. So can you see that? Now this does not cut, so I'm just calling it a blade for the sake of a better word. So this is the scoring tool, I guess I could say. So you can see that hopefully there. Hopefully that's showing up on camera. Once again, I'll have a picture posted at the end. So now this is the old scoring. And you might remember, if you watched a lot of my older videos, because I had a lot of questions on why I use my bone folder with the old trimmer. And this is why. Because this is like smaller than a tiny ball bearing. Can you see that? And it did not do a deep enough score line for me. So I would use my scoring tool. Let me show you here. So you might remember that I would take my trimmer and I would score, right, with the scoring tool or the bone folder because of this scoring tool that was on that trimmer. So you can see that it's very, very small, and you'd have to go over it multiple times. So you're gonna see probably a lot of demonstrators, me including in this, on the new trimmer, we're just in a habit of using the scoring tool and the blade and cutting back and forth. And that's why, it's because we're more of in a habit to try to get a really nice score line with this little ball bearing, which you can see it's barely there compared to this new scoring tool here on the new trimmer. So now I will say that there's one certain place on the arm where your trimmer blade and the scoring tool will click into place in the arm. And mine is right down here, and you can kind of click it and you'll hear it click in. Okay, so I have my scoring tool and my cutting blade. Now the arm is the same arm, and I'm going to actually add a piece of copy paper along this measurement here like I did on my older trimmer here, because I find that that's very helpful when you're scoring and cutting for like making fun folds and stuff. So I will be doing that here shortly, but you'll notice there's a couple things different from this trimmer compared to the old trimmer. So now we have 1.5 inches over on the right hand side of our cutting platform right here compared to 1.25 inches on this side. So I find that I use this side probably quite a bit as much as I do the base of the trimmer. So depending on how you're scoring and cutting, I mean, I find that maybe sometimes it's easier to hold the cardstock in place over here and use this as a measurement, especially if it's a smaller score line and cutting measurement. It's just easier to use this side of your trimmer. And then the cutting platform is the same over here. It's the 6 1/4. But what you're gonna also notice is that when you open up the arm, you're actually going to be able to see the measurements in between here. So now let me show you here in a comparison again. So now on this arm, you might remember the 6 1/4 was here, and then it went right to 6 1/2. there was no measurements for the 8ths and the 16ths, which was kind of frustrating, especially if you needed a 6 and 3/8. So you went from 6 1/4 to 6 1/2 and then 6 3/4. So, but on the new trimmer, you have the actual measurements on there. And I don't know if it's going to show up on camera right here. Let me get my take your pick tool. So right here, you have the extended measurements right here on the darker gray part. So you can see them. That's so awesome. And then also the arm extends down to 17 inches, whereas the older trimmer went down to 14.5. Okay, so that's an added bonus too. And then also with the arm, you want to make sure, because this right here, there's a groove. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but there's a little groove right here where this arm right here slides into. So you want to be careful to line that up when you're closing the arm, and then you'll hear it click just like that. So that little groove right here, let me show you here up close, maybe it shows up better. This right here will click into this part right here. Okay, and then also on this trimmer compared to the other trimmer, now this older trimmer, we had a locking system which you could lock. Now, personally, I never used that feature the whole time I used this paper trimmer. And maybe this feature was mainly used for like people that do crops, or if you travel a lot with your Stampin' trimmer to like do classes and workshops and stuff. So the locking mechanism on the older trimmer, you locked it so then the arm did not move around. So the blade didn't flop out and the arm stayed in place until you wanted to use it. So then you would just unlock it and then the arm would open up. So now on the new trimmer, we do not have a locking system, but once you get this new trimmer, you're going to notice that the arm automatically clicks into these grooves here, because on the trimmer, it's totally not going to show up good on camera, but if you're watching this video and looking at your trimmer, you can totally see this. But right here, you can see these grooves. There's ones at the top and then also at the bottom of your trimmer, and the trimmer arm also is the opposite. So it's like it's going to lock in that way instead of physically locking it. So every time you close your arm, it's going to click into place and it's going to lock it and secure. But it's not locked where you can't actually use the arm. So it's like it's locked enough where it doesn't flop open. Okay? But it does open so you can, you know, move your cardstock and move your blades, cut, whatever, score. So it is a nice feature that it automatically locks. It's just not permanently locked like the other one. And then also you're going to notice here, there's a little, like a little cutout here. So if you're one of these crafters that like to hang stuff up on a wall, like I remember in my old studio, I had like 3M hooks that were like adhesive and they stuck underneath my desk. So that would be like where I would hang my heat tool, you know, just put the cord over the little hook. And then this hook, you can also hang your trimmer on a hook or a nail or something that if you want to hang it up on a wall. Now, one more thing that I wanted to mention is that on the back side of the older trimmer, well, mine has come off, but this used to have a little cover, so it would be like a little storage unit in the back side of the trimmer, so you could put like maybe a bone folder or some extra cutting blades. The new trimmer does not have the extra storage space on the back, and I do not miss that at all. And then I think that's it. Oh, the biggest thing here is that it's not only in the imperial or the inches in the measurements, but we also have the metric. So what else is nice is that there's a measurement right here in the center. So let me grab my cardstock here. So let me just cut this piece here. See, we're going to cut this at 4 1/4. And one thing too is when you're cutting, you do not, like with the past trimmer, the old trimmer that retired, you'll find that you want to push really hard. You do not need to push really hard for either scoring or cutting. So you're just going to glide that down and then cut it, and you get a really smooth edge. I'm going to actually cut this down to say 5 1/2. And I just want to show you here. So because when I first seen this, I was thinking, well, why did they put the measurements here in the middle of the trimmer? I can understand the bottom, because when if you're, depending on how you use the trimmer, if you want to cut it from the top or the bottom, you have all your measurements right here, okay? So, but let's say you're cutting something and you want to measure say 3 inches, you can measure this up in the center here as well. So it's not just like a grid line, it's actually the measurement. So you can measure that up to 3 inches. And then let's say I want to score this, so I'm going to go ahead and score. Now see, my habit is to score over that multiple times, but you don't have to. And then you can see the score line here. So let me fold this here so you can see it better. So there's your score line. Okay. All right, so once again, you have the inches and the metric system on this paper trimmer. So it's not just for the European or the other countries. We have both now. So I find that that's a big bonus for all of us. This new trimmer is amazing. And once again, if you have any questions, just let me know. You can also purchase this trimmer on my online store. It's $25, and I have the number listed down below on the screen, the item number for this new paper trimmer. All right, so once again, if you have any questions, just let me know. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any future videos. Okay, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later. Bye.